Hello guys, my name is Kaushal Patil and today's date is 10th of August 2K20 2K21. So today in today's topic we are going to see what is constructor in Java. So let us see first what we are going to cover in today's topic. So today we are going to cover what is construction, then constructor rules of creating constructor, then of constructor and types of constructor. So let us start with what is constructor in Java. So basically in Java, a constructor is a block of code similar to the method. It is similar to the method. It is called when it is called when an instance of class is created. It is called when an instance of class is created. It is special type of method which is used to initialize which is used to initialize the object. It is class constructor. It is class constructor because construct because it constructs the values at the time of object creation. At the time of object creation, it is it is not necessary to write constructor at, during we create the constructor because the JVM creates its own by default. The constructor is created by the JVM by its own during the constructor by its default. If your class if your to pass the value to the initial variables. Now let us move on to rules of creating Java constructor. So first we have to construct name. The constructor name must be similar to the name of the class. Second is the constructor must have no explicit return type, means it will be never of return type. It will be it the construct as the difference between method and constructor is method can be of return type but constructor can never be a return type. It will always be of non-return type. The third rule is a constructor cannot be abstract, static, or final, or synchronous. Now the fourth rule is we can use access modifier while declaring constructor. It controls the object creation. It controls the object creation. In other words, we can have private, protected, public, or default constructor in Java. So let us move on to the types of constructor types of constructor. So basically there are two types of constructor. First one is default constructor and the second one is parameterized constructor. So let us start with default constructor. The default constructor is a constructor when it doesn't have any parameter. And it is created by the compiler at its own when we are creating an object of the class. When we are creating object of the class, the purpose of the default constructor is when the initial variables does not have the any values, then it is used to pass the values. Then it is used to pass the def- init values. So default constructor is used to pass the values, and it is created by the compiler by creating when creating an object. The second is parameterized constructor. Param- Parameterized constructor. So parameterized constructor is a constructor in which parameters are passed, so that parameters are passed in this constructor. The uh, the parameters passed, i- as it is a parameterized constructor, when we are creating an object, at that time we also have to pass the values for the variables. So that the values passes to the so that the values passes to the variables in a class, and that variables and the values can be used for the another methods. In parameterized constructor, to pass to pass for passing the values, we use this keyword. The first of all, we use this keyword a uh, and a bracket. The meaning of that this keyword is, it calls the it calls the method, and and at next we use this keyword. We use then we use variable name, initial variable, and then we then equals to the parameterize parameter variable parameterized variable, so that the values of the parameterized variable passes to the initial variable. At that time it becomes the in intense variable. It becomes the intense variable, and it after that it can be used for the next method, which are which are created in the class. So in this way, the variables are passes through the constructor. The values of the variables can be passes through the constructor by giving an output by the user. So this is all about constructor. So let us take an example of constructor. Suppose first create a class of name abcd. So in that class, we are going to give three variables. First is int roll number, second is string name, and third is int marks. And we do not pass any values to the variables. So at that time, and again we create a next class of main method. In that we create a object of the abcd. So while we are creating the object of abcd class, at that time a default constructor is created. So because of that default constructor, the values of the variables are created as 0 for int variables, and null for the string variables. Then we create a second constructor in the class. As we created a second constructor, which is parameterized constructor, then we have to pass the values for the variables in the object. As we pass the variables in variables as we pass the values for the variables in object, the values passes the values to the variables in class method, and then the and that variables and that values of the variables can be used for the method next method which is created in the class. So this is all about constructor. Thank you.